The silent approach. The void between the stars held its breath. In the darkness beyond the Kepler 438 system, where ice crystals drifted like frozen tears, the human armada moved with predatory silence. Captain Zara Blackthorne stood on the bridge of the UES Retribution, her steel-gray eyes fixed on the tactical display that showed the enemy fleet in perfect formation around what had once been New Tethys. The Zanari had no idea they were being watched. "Status report, Lieutenant," Blackthorne commanded, her voice cutting through the bridge's tense atmosphere like a blade. Lieutenant Kai Nakamura's fingers danced across his console, streams of data flowing across multiple screens. 17. Zanari biocruisers in defensive formation around the planet, Captain. Their thermal signatures suggest they're in minimal alert status. No patrol sweeps, no sensor pings beyond standard proximity scans. Blackthorne's mouth curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. Overconfident. They've never faced real resistance before. Through the reinforced transparasteel viewport, the once blue world of New Tethys appeared as a scarred, brown-gray sphere. The Zanari had drained its oceans, harvested its biomass, and left behind a dead husk. 200,000 colonists had called it home. Scientists, families, children who had never seen Earth but dreamed of its blue skies. All gone. In 72 hours of systematic extermination. "Chief Volkov, are our stealth systems holding?" Blackthorne asked. From the engineering station, Chief Engineer Dmitry Volkov's gravelly voice carried the weight of decades in space. "Da, Captain. Adaptive camouflage is operating at 97% efficiency. Heat dampeners are containing our engine signatures, and the asteroid field is providing excellent cover. The squid faces cannot see us even if they look directly at our position." The Zanari ships hung in space like organic nightmares. Elongated, segmented creatures of living metal and bioengineered flesh. Their hulls pulsed with bioluminescent patterns, and tentacle-like appendages writhed from their undersides, tasting the vacuum for threats. They were beautiful in their alien horror and absolutely lethal. Each vessel was grown rather than built, capable of self-repair and equipped with weapons that could dissolve molecular bonds on contact. Tactical analysis shows they're running standard post-harvest operations, Nakamura reported. Minimal crew rotation, energy conservation protocols active. They're treating this like a resupply stop, not a potential combat zone. Blackthorne nodded grimly. That was their first mistake. The Zanari had swept through 17 star systems in the past decade, consuming everything in their path. Every species they encountered either submitted immediately or was quickly overwhelmed by their biological superiority. They had grown comfortable with conquest, drunk on their own invincibility, but they had never encountered humanity in full war mode. "Captain," Volkov called out, "I'm reading massive energy buildups across our fleet. All ships report weapons, charged and ready. The boys are eager to dance." Behind them, hidden in the asteroid field's embrace, 43 human warships waited like coiled serpents. Destroyers, cruisers, and the mighty dreadnought UES Warhammer, each vessel bristling with kinetic accelerators, plasma cannons, and quantum torpedoes, technologies the Zanari had never seen, weapons designed specifically to counter their biological advantages. Blackthorne activated the fleet-wide communication array. "This is retribution to all vessels. Final weapons check. Remember, we're not here for a fair fight. We're here for justice." The response crackled back across encrypted channels. "Ready. Standing by. Locked and loaded, Captain." She looked one last time at the tactical display, at the unsuspecting Zanari fleet floating in their arrogant formation. They had made one fatal error in their calculations about humanity. They assumed we would respond like every other species they had encountered. With fear, with desperate defensive measures, with futile diplomatic overtures. They were about to learn that humans don't just defend, humans hunt. The storm unleashed. The first salvo tore through space like the wrath of gods. Commander Jackson Reed pulled his fighter into a steep dive as the human fleet erupted from the asteroid field in perfect synchronization. Around him, 42 other Viper-class fighters screamed through the void, their engines painting blue fire against the darkness. Behind them, The capital ships unleashed hell itself. "Razor Squadron, this is Razor 1, Reed's voice crackled through the comm system. "Target their sensor clusters first. Blind them before they can coordinate a response." The Zanari fleet, moments ago floating in lazy confidence, suddenly convulsed like a wounded animal. Their bioships' luminescent patterns flared from gentle blue to angry crimson as proximity alarms shrieked through their organic corridors. But it was already too late. The UES Warhammer's main battery spoke first, a quartet of quantum torpedoes that crossed the distance in heartbeats. The lead Zanari cruiser, a kilometer-long creature of living metal, simply vanished. Where it had been, only expanding plasma and biological debris remained, glowing like a miniature star. "Direct hit on their command vessel," Lieutenant Nakamura shouted from the Retribution's bridge. "Their formation is breaking apart." Aboard the flagship, Dr. Nina Castellanos watched the slaughter unfold on her monitoring screens, her xenobiology, expertise forgotten in the face of such overwhelming violence. The Zanari were dying faster than they could react. Their organic armor, designed to resist energy weapons and biological toxins, proved helpless against kinetic slugs traveling at significant fractions of light speed. "They're not adapting," she whispered, almost in awe. "Their ships are trying to heal damage that can't be healed. They don't understand what's happening to them." A holographic figure materialized on the bridge, Admiral Thor Grimsby, his weathered face set in grim satisfaction as he coordinated the fleet from the distant command station. "Blackthorn, your fighters are performing magnificently. The enemy's defensive capabilities are virtually non-existent," it was true. Reed's squadron carved through the Zanari formation like wolves among sheep. The alien vessels, accustomed to prey that fled or cowered, had no tactical doctrine for facing organized resistance. Their weapons, bioacid projectors and neural disruptors, were designed for subjugation, not warfare. "Razor 3 to Razor 1, came a pilot's excited voice. "I've got a wounded squid trying to flee. Permission to pursue?" "Negative, Razor 3, let it run," Reed replied, banking hard to avoid a dying Zanari ship's final desperate lunge. "We want survivors. Command wants prisoners." The battle, if it could even be called that, lasted 17 minutes. When the guns finally fell silent, the space around New Tethys resembled a graveyard of alien nightmares. 15 Zanari vessels floated dead in the void, their bioluminescent patterns faded to black. 2 others drifted helplessly, their propulsion systems shattered, life support failing. "Boarding parties prepare for capture operations," Blackthorn commanded. "Dr. Castellanos, I want you leading the xenobiology team. Find out everything. These creatures know about their home territories." The first Zanari prisoner was brought aboard the Retribution 3 hours later, contained within a specialized holding cell designed for hostile alien life forms. The creature was roughly humanoid, but covered in sleek seal-like skin that shifted between gray and deep purple. Its large black eyes held no emotion that humans could recognize, only an alien intelligence trying to process its species' first military defeat in over a millennium. Dr. Castellanos approached the containment field, her scientific instruments, recording every detail. "Can you understand me?" she asked, knowing the translation software would convert her words into the Zanari's complex harmonic language. The creature's response came as a series of whistles and clicks, but the computer provided an instant translation. "This is impossible. The prey species do not possess such capabilities. Our calculations were perfect." "Your calculations were wrong," Castellanos replied coolly. "You've been hunting defenseless colonies and civilian populations. You've never faced a species that fights back with purpose." Another series of sounds. "The breeding nexus will respond. The Overmind will not allow this insult to pass unpunished." Admiral Grimsby's hologram flickered as he leaned forward. "Ask it where these breeding grounds are located." The interrogation continued for hours. Slowly, piece by piece, the humans extracted crucial intelligence. The Zanari weren't just raiders. They were scouts for something much larger. Deep in the Andromeda sector, beyond charted space, lay their primary colonies. massive biostructures that could spawn thousands of vessels, all controlled by a single ancient intelligence known as the Overmind. It's a hive mind, Dr. Castellanos explained to the assembled officers. Every Zenari is connected to this central consciousness. That's why they've been so effective. Perfect coordination, no individual initiative required. Captain Blackthorne studied the star charts that now displayed estimated Zenari territory. Then we know where to strike next. Captain, Admiral Grimsby's voice carried a warning. What you're suggesting is a deep penetration mission into completely unknown territory. We'd be going in blind against potentially overwhelming odds. Blackthorne's smile was as cold as the space between stars. Admiral, with respect, they came to our home. They murdered our people. Now it's time to return the favor. The fleet began preparations for the longest, most dangerous journey in human history. The final reckoning. 6 months later, deep in the Andromeda sector where no human had ever ventured, the stealth ship UES Phantom drifted like a shadow through an alien graveyard. Captain Phoenix Hale stood in the ship's darkened bridge, her augmented eyes processing the horrific vista beyond the viewport. Thousands of dead worlds orbited a bloated red giant, each planet stripped bare and converted into massive biofoundries. "Sweet Mother of Earth," whispered Sergeant Maya Cross, her marine armor reflecting the crimson light filtering through the observation deck. How many species did they wipe out to build this? The Zenari breeding nexus stretched across the entire star system, a web of living architecture that defied human comprehension. Organic spires the size of moons pulsed with bioluminescent veins, connected by vast tendrils that bridged the void between worlds. At the center of it all, suspended, in space like a malevolent god, hung the Overmind. Scans indicate the central structure is over 50,000 kilometers in diameter, reported the ship's AI in its calm, synthetic voice. Biomass readings suggest it contains the neural patterns of billions of individual Zenari organisms. Captain Hale activated her personal communicator. "Phoenix to command, we've reached the target. The intelligence from our prisoners was accurate, but they understated the scale. This isn't just a breeding colony. It's their entire civilization compressed into a single consciousness." The response crackled back across impossible distances, delayed by the quantum relay network they'd secretly deployed during their journey. Admiral Grimsby's voice carried the weight of humanity's hopes. "Understood, Phoenix. You have authorization to deploy the Orpheus Protocol. May God have mercy on us all." Hale closed the channel and turned to her small team. Only 12 humans had made this journey, volunteers all, knowing they might never see Earth again. "Maya, prep your squad for infiltration. We have one shot at this." The Orpheus Protocol was humanity's darkest scientific achievement. Developed in secret laboratories by minds that understood the terrible arithmetic of survival. A quantum virus capable of severing neural connections on a molecular level, designed specifically to disrupt hive mind architectures. It would either save humanity or damn them as genocidal monsters in the eyes of the galaxy. As the Phantom approached the Overmind's outer layers, the structure's defenses came alive. Smaller Zenari, vessels, barely larger than fighters, swarmed toward them like antibodies responding to an infection. But Hale's ship was a ghost. Every surface designed to absorb or deflect sensor sweeps. Every system hardened against detection. "Contact in 30 seconds, Cross reported, her Marines checking their sealed combat suits one final time. "Remember, we only need to reach the central cortex, plant the device and extract. Simple." But nothing about the Overmind was simple. As they breached its outer membrane, the humans found themselves inside a living cathedral of flesh and metal. Corridors pulsed with the rhythm of an impossibly vast heartbeat, and the walls themselves seemed to watch their progress with millions of microscopic eyes. Then it spoke. The voice came from everywhere and nowhere, a harmony of tones that bypassed human ears and resonated directly in their minds. "So, the prey species seeks to bite the hand that would have fed upon it. Fascinating." Captain Hale pressed forward, the quantum virus device secured in her pack. We're not prey anymore. That was your mistake. Mistake? The Overmind's amusement was like the sound of worlds dying. Child creature, I have consumed the consciousness of 10,000 species across 1,000,000 years. Your kind is barely a whisper in the cosmic symphony. What makes you believe you can succeed where countless others have failed? Maya cross-fired, her plasma rifle at a wall that was trying to close around them, clearing a path deeper into the structure. Because we're human, she growled. We don't know when to quit. They fought their way through chambers filled with the preserved memories of extinct civilizations, entire species reduced to neural patterns stored in crystalline matrices. The Zanari hadn't just killed their victims, they had absorbed them, adding their knowledge and experiences to the collective consciousness. Finally, they reached the central cortex, a sphere of pure thought suspended in bioelectric fluid. The Overmind's presence was overwhelming here, pressing against their minds like the weight of an ocean. You would destroy me, it said, and, for the first time, there was something like uncertainty in its voice. But in doing so, you doom yourselves. I am the sum total of 1,000,000 civilizations. All their art, their philosophy, their scientific achievements, all would die with me. Is your vengeance worth that price? Hale hesitated for a moment, the device heavy in her hands. Then she thought of New Tethys, of the children who would never grow up, of the families torn apart by this creature's endless hunger. Some prices have to be paid, she said, and activated the quantum virus. The effect was immediate and catastrophic. Across the entire star system, the Zanari biostructures began to convulse as the virus spread through their neural networks at light speed. The Overmind's scream shattered several dimensions, a sound of pure agony that would echo in the survivors' nightmares for years to come. But it worked. One by one, the connections failed. Individual Zanari, suddenly cut off from their collective, consciousness for the first time in their species' existence collapsed into catatonic states. The great biofoundries went dark. The breeding nexus crumbled. In the space of minutes, a civilization that had dominated the galaxy for millennia simply stopped. Captain Hale and her team barely escaped the collapsing structure, their ship's engines straining to reach minimum safe distance before the Overmind's death throes tore space itself apart. As they watched the breeding nexus consume itself in a cascade of biological failure, Hale opened a channel to Earth. Mission accomplished, she reported, her voice hollow with exhaustion and the weight of what they had done. The Zanari threat has been neutralized permanently. The long journey home would give them time to process what they had done, whether they were humanity's saviors or its first true monsters. But in the silence of space, as dead Zanari worlds drifted like tombstones around a dying star, one thing was certain: humanity would never again be considered prey.